What's going on, fellow commanders of Caws? My name is Dan.
I'm Chris.
And we're already on week 3 of the NFL regular season, Chris. Can you believe it?
I can't believe that we're already going into week 3 and we get to see some exciting matchups this week.
Absolutely. We're going to go over just briefly our picks from last week, how well we did, how bad we did. We're going to talk about some teams just worth noting going into week 3, and then we're going to give our predictions. But first, here's a video. All right, everyone. So welcome again to Command and Caws, the Baltimore, Washington area football sports talk show, whatever you want to call us. As I mentioned in the preface to this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about week 2 just very briefly. Chris and I are having a little competition where we're going to see who correctly guesses the most games this year. But Chris, what's going on with these past 2 weeks? What are we at right now?
We are at 20-12, tied even, which is amazing. The games I ended up getting incorrect were the Packers, Texans, Lions, Chargers, Bears, and Panthers.
We both agreed that the Eagles would win against the Vikings. We were right. I said the Falcons would beat the Packers. You said the Packers would beat the Falcons, and I ended up being right there, but by a point, just pointing out.
Game.
We both said that the Texans would beat the Colts. We were wrong. We both said that the Lions would beat the Seahawks. We were wrong, but it went into overtime. So we both said that the Titans would lose to the Chargers, and we were both wrong again.
Also in overtime.
Yeah, you texted me on Sunday like, man, we're not doing that well right now. And then, however, we were both right on the Bills beating the Raiders. This is where things kind of got a little bit more interesting. I said the Jags would beat the Chiefs. You said the Chiefs would beat the Jags.
We both got the Ravens correct in that nice slugfest of the AFC North football against Cincinnati. Hopefully Joe Burrow's okay. He did mention that he got a little banged up during that game.
Happily surprised with the outcome of that game. And then another surprise for me, I thought the Bears would beat the Bucks, but right now the Bucks are sitting at 2-0 and the Bears are 0-2.
Yeah.
I'll eat my words, I guess, with a nice dish of deep dish pizza.
And then we got the 49ers versus the Rams. That was a tightly contested game. And the 49ers ended up coming on top. We got that one correct. Next was the Cardinals versus Giants, which the Giants had to come back from a huge deficit to actually beat them. That was a pretty good game as well. I was watching that on Red Zone. You picked the Cardinals to win that, and you were almost right. They were beating Giants pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it like 21 or 28 to nothing at some point? But anyway. And then we have the Cowboys who beat the Jets, which, again, they should, considering everything. So just going to mention that. This was a fun game to watch. The Commanders beat the Broncos, which the Broncos, it was 21-3 going into the half. And then we came back and it was 35 to, I think, 24. And then basically they had a Hail Mary and the field goal or something like that. And they went for the 2 points, tied up, take it to overtime. Say what you will about if there was any pass interference or whatnot. I kind of want to get your opinion on that, Chris, here in a second. But basically the Commanders won.
Yeah, no, they were letting stuff go in that game for both sides. People blaming pass interference on that. I mean, yeah, it's there, but at the same time, you let a team come back on you guys. So, I mean, you guys had plenty of opportunities to stop them.
There were a couple instances towards the end there where I think the defense was getting tired. It was a long game to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Also, Logan Thomas got a concussion. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, that was kind of a dirty hit that Kareem Jackson hit on him.
Then we both said the Dolphins would beat the Patriots. We were right. I said the Saints would beat the Panthers. What made you pick the Panthers there?
I just thought the Panthers would get their first win for the year. That's it.
Fair enough. And then I was wrong. You were right. I said the Browns would win. You said the Steelers would win. I turned the game off after halftime.
So did you even see what happened to Nick Chubb during that game? Very gruesome injury to his leg.
I didn't see the injury. I just heard the audience reaction.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the injury either, and I'm really glad I didn't based off the reactions. It just sounded really bad.
Well, we hope he gets better. Like, we're not Cleveland fans at all, but, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Also, Nick Chubb is probably one of my favorite running backs in the league.
At any rate, so we're not really going to do a top 5 teams this week. There's just some teams that we want to mention. And Chris, if you don't mind me going first here.
Go ahead.
I'm actually going to mention 10 teams, Chris. There's 5 teams I want to mention with an asterisk. And then there's 5 teams I want to mention with an exclamation point, if I can put it that way.
Okay.
The 5 teams with an asterisk, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Cowboys. Lions and Seahawks because they both have expectations, and they both, at some points, in some ways, have underperformed a little bit. Sometimes a little overperformed. We'll see. The Chiefs because they have a problem at wide receiver, and I don't know if that's enough to sustain another Super Bowl, but mark my words, watch them win another Super Bowl this year. The Bills, mainly because they are Josh Allen, and how he does is how they do. And the Cowboys, because not only am I an NFC East compatriot, but also just they're beating up on teams that they should be beating up on right now. And the Cowboys, again, are saying they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they also go against the Cardinals here soon, so that'll be a beat up match as well, probably.
Yeah, I see them going 3-0, but the problem is they're beating up on teams they should. But before I go into my top five, in no particular, five good teams with the exclamation point, who are your teams you wanted to mention?
So one team I want to start with is the Atlanta Falcons. They're making me eat my words. I still stand by Desmond Ridder not being a good quarterback, in my opinion. He just doesn't look like he's there yet because he's, I mean, technically a rookie if you really think about it. It's his first year really starting. He's doing good though. He looks like he's trying his heart out. Bijan Robinson is carrying that team, and so
I
is
was just about to say.
running back as well. They're doing great there. Defense looks pretty great. Jesse Bates was a great acquisition in the offseason. The next team I wanted to mention up on was the Packers because the Packers looked like they were doing pretty decent. I think they were expecting to get that Aaron Rodgers magic they get at the end of the game with Jordan Love, and he tried, and that was a pretty good attempt that he had there. And then the last team that I want to mention is the Commanders. Really shocked that they're sitting at 2-0 right now. Pretty cool to see that. It's also cool to see the Ravens sitting there, but the Commanders a little bit more shocking, just like the Falcons. So hopefully the Commanders can keep it up with their upcoming challenges that they got going on.
Yes. All right, so now my five teams I want to mention with an exclamation point. And what I mean by that is these teams are either performing as well as I thought they would or they're exceeding expectations. Kind of going right off the bat, the Falcons, like you said, they're 2-0. I didn't expect that at this point. Same with the Buccaneers. We thought the Bucs were going to be like top pick contention this year in the draft. Maybe there's something down there that is just working. The 49ers, if they made the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be surprised. And then the Commanders and the Ravens, not just because there are basically who this whole channel is based off of, but also just the Ravens without OBJ. Zay Flowers was killing it last week. He made an amazing, what was it, like a 51, 71-yard catch from
like
Lamar?
51 or 52-yard catch, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was in the 70s or not. But anyway. And then, yeah, the Commanders, I think that they're from them coming up from a deficit is helping them to build confidence. I think the defense just needs a little more gas in it personally, but I think Eric Bieniemy is a great offensive coordinator. I wouldn't be surprised if he got the head coach position at some year or two.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with all that.
All right, Chris, but let's go ahead then, and we'll make our picks for week 3. Who you got on Thursday Night Football? The Giants versus the 49ers.
I got the no, I'm just kidding. I got the San Francisco 49ers. They're just too good of a team.
I agree. Next, Broncos Dolphins. This one is in Miami, I believe, correct? Yes, it is. Miami's favored to win. I'm picking them.
Yeah, no, Miami's 2-0. The Broncos are 0-2. I look for Miami to get the win here pretty easily.
As long as Tua stays healthy. I mean, I was watching, what was it, ESPN today, First Take, and I saw that Stephen A. Smith put the Dolphins at number 2 on his top 5 list.
Nice.
I can't disagree with that. All right, now we got the Patriots at the Jets.
This is a tough one. Patriots are 0-2. Jets are 1-1. New England should win this by theory because New England is a better team, my personal opinion. So I'm going to go with the Patriots on this.
I'm going to go with the Patriots too because I think that the defense of the Jets is really good. I mean, both defenses are really good, but it comes down to quarterback, and I just think that Zach Wilson isn't that good compared to mac and cheese. Next game, though, we got the Texans going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is this going to be an upset?
I think it could be. I think this definitely could be one of those upset contender games, but I am going with Jacksonville Jaguars myself.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans are 0-2, Jags are 1-1, and they played the Chiefs last week, the reigning Super Bowl champions, so it's not a surprise they lost. Yeah, I'm cool with picking the Jags here, too.
I think we might have a disagreement on this next game with the Titans going to Cleveland to play. Both teams sitting at 1-1. Cleveland is favored in this matchup. I am actually going with the Tennessee Titans because I think that run defense is very stout, and that's the way that the Cleveland Browns can win is running the ball. And if they can't do that, I don't think they're going to have a pass game because Deshaun really hasn't looked that great to me. I think that the loss of Nick Chubb is going to cause a lot of downfall for that team that kind of had a bright future, to be honest with you, with the way they were playing.
I agree, and I originally had picked the Browns, but you just swayed me. I'm going to go switch my pick to the Titans. Now, we thought the Titans were going to be pretty bad this year. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs personally, but they're not as bad as everyone thinks they are. They'll be like a top 10 draft pick, maybe a top 12.
Titans might be in contention to be able to win the division at the end of the year, the way they're playing, if that defense carries them.
All right, then the Falcons and the Lions. We both picked the Lions here.
Yeah, we both did. Lions are a great team. They played the Seahawks really well, so I think they're going to get the win against the Falcons. If the Falcons win here, they might be the real deal.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. if the Falcons win here, it's going to be a bloodbath between them and the Saints for the division.
Yeah.
Speaking of, though, we got the Saints and the Packers. This is one that we disagreed on.
Yeah, I got the Packers going in and winning. I think Jordan Love is looking really good so far in all his outings. Saints are going to create a really good defensive front for him to be able to go against with his first year. So it should be pretty interesting to see how he reacts to it, reacts to the different zones and everything else. So I personally think Jordan Love will actually do pretty well, and the Packers walk away with the win.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just think Derek Carr having more experience than Jordan Love is going to help. And where's Michael Thomas? Is he back yet?
Oh, yeah.
And is Alvin Kamara back this week?
I do not know if he's back this week. I think this is the third game. I think he was suspended for 3 games.
Okay. Well, I still think that Derek Carr versus Jordan Love. Currently, I think Derek Carr will do better. Now, this next game, I went with my heart, not my head. Because, like I said, there's an exclamation point associated with this team. And honestly, when you were talking about some teams that you wanted to mention, I was honestly happily surprised you mentioned the Commanders. I'm picking the Commanders to beat the Bills. Watch me eat my words. They'll probably destroy us, but
I don't know. With the way Josh Allen's playing, and if your defense can take advantage of the turnovers that he gives up, because I bet you he gives up at least 1 fumble and 1 interception this game, they can take advantage of it, that offense. They could actually upset the Bills. Now, I do not look for them to do that. I'm picking the Bills on this.
yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying there. I think Chase Young being back is going to help, but Montez Sweat has really been tearing it up. Him, Deron Payne, I want to make sure he's okay because he was helping once he got out of the game with an injury or some kind of like a sprain or something. That's kind of when the Broncos started to make a semi-comeback when they got that Hail Mary. Chase Young is doing better after missing most of last year and most of the year before, but he did cause Russell Wilson to lose the ball and fumble it, so we'll see. But yeah, again, I'm going with my heart. Probably not a good idea, but let's move on.
Next, we got the Chargers at the Vikings. Both teams sitting 0-2. Both teams that you would think would be playoff contenders. Both not playing up to their standards. We actually did the same pick on this one. Both of us went with the Vikings, it looks like.
There are certain similarities between these two teams, for sure, kind of to what you just said. However, I believe that the Chargers' main issue is coaching, whereas the Vikings' main issue is primarily quarterback Kirk Cousins and maybe a few key players. Because I could be wrong, but I think Justin Jefferson dropped a couple of deep passes this past game.
Chargers have a good defense. I don't know what that offense is doing and how they're doing their play calls. It kind of seems like the Vikings, Kirk Cousins looking good this year. I think he's the #1 quarterback in fantasy football. Not that that really matters too much, but he's doing pretty decent when it comes to stats. But it could be padding based off of some of the games, how they come about. Jordan Addison's been coming along really great, so he was a great addition. You were right. I think him and Zay both are making differences for their teams.
I'm going to make a prediction that Brandon Staley, he's the first coach fired this year.
That's pretty good pick there. I actually don't want to disagree with you on that. I could totally see that. The Battle of Baltimore, those Indianapolis Colts and the Baltimore Ravens. Colts have been playing pretty decent when it comes to running the ball. They'll get some yards on the Ravens, in my personal opinion. If Anthony Richardson's playing, I know he got a concussion last game, but if he's playing, he'll create some matchup nightmares for our linebackers. He'll probably truck somebody, but I personally think the Ravens walk away with this, and Lamar shows them how he runs the ball versus how Anthony Richardson runs the ball.
Yeah, I agree with this. I don't know if OBJ, I know he had an ankle injury. I'm hoping he's okay.
It was minor.
I don't know. Okay, good. Well then, yeah, if Mark Andrews is there, Zay Flowers is there, OBJ is there, and Lamar's there, and Gus Edwards, which I think he's kind of earning a spot on the roster next year right now. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead with the Ravens on this one too.
Alrighty, now we got the Panthers at Seahawks. One team sitting at 0-2, not looking too good, and the Seahawks sitting at 1-1, recently beating the Lions, who beat the Chiefs if you didn't know.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks on this one. As much as they surprised me with how bad they were week one, it was week one. I love that meme of Geno Smith getting chased by Aaron Donald.
It was a pretty good one. I remember mentioning that. Now, we did find out that the Rams are a lot better than we thought they were. So I think that's why the Seahawks were the way that they looked like on week one. I think they kind of got stunned a little bit too. Seahawks look good. I'm going with the Seahawks as well.
We might have the NFC Beast and the NFC West both kind of competing for the playoffs this year. But the next game we have is the Bears going to Kansas City, and yeah, the Bears aren't good this year.
No, they are not.
We're just going to say Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Now, is this going to be like a 40-0 blowout? I don't think so, but...
Nope, I think it'll be like 28-0 or something like that because they'll drop too many touchdowns.
Cowboys, Cardinals. We know the answer is the Cowboys, but the thing is they're beating teams they should be. They're playing the Cardinals. The week after, they're playing the Patriots. I see them winning that. Then they play the 49ers.
It'll be interesting to see. I bet you both teams will probably be undefeated by the time they get to each other, so we'll have one team come out of that.
Yeah, and I think the Rams and the Eagles will put up a good fight. I would like to see the Commanders do that and the Seahawks. So when they play the Dolphins and the Lions, I want to see what goes on there. I'm again picking the Cowboys here.
Yeah, no, I'm picking the Cowboys as well. They look good. Micah Parsons is the real deal. That man's probably going to get. He could get MVP with the way he's playing right now.
Then we have Sunday Night Football, Steelers against the Raiders. Both teams that have kind of been underperforming.
See, it's kind of hard. I have the Steelers picked. The Raiders are also a good team, so this is kind of hard for me because the Steelers' offense is just bad. Najee Harris looks bad. That offensive line doesn't look great. George Pickens looks good, but you got to get him the ball. It's kind of like the same issue you had with the Bears. Whereas the Raiders, they're kind of going along, and I think with that being said, I think I'm actually going to switch my pick to the Las Vegas Raiders.
I think we're both going to flip here. You swayed me over to the Raiders here because I think that Kenny Pickett is, I wouldn't say he's getting worse, but he's definitely not getting better. I would be happily surprised if the Buccaneers beat the Eagles, but I am also just going to be a realist here and say the Eagles are beating the Buccaneers.
The battle of 2-0 teams. Who is the better 2-0 team? I'm going with the Eagles. There's no debate on this. I think the Eagles are just a better squad. If the Buccaneers walk away with a win, with that defense the way it's playing, Baker's playing pretty decent, I could see them upsetting the Eagles if the Eagles overlook them, but Philly should walk away with a victory pretty handily.
And Mike Evans he might get Offensive Player of the Year currently. That might be a spicy take.
Yeah, he's playing really well.
Then we got a rematch of Super Bowl 56. We got the Rams and the Bengals, which we both have different picks here. I'm saying the Rams, you're saying the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't see the Bengals going 0-3. The Rams are a good squad. The Rams could beat them pretty good, to be honest with you. But I cannot see the Bengals going 0-3. That's literally the only logic I have there. There's too much firepower. They're just starting off slow. If they lose this game to another contender in the playoffs, by theory, because the Rams look like a contender, it's time to start raising the alarm bells.
Yeah, I think the Bengals' issue right now is they're not playing disciplined football. I think Joe Burrow, the offensive line, is just not protecting him. I think Joe Burrow's doing his job. I think Jamar Chase is doing his job, and I don't think either one of them are really exceeding their expectations as they probably should be.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this is going to end up coming out. Because if the Bengals drop this one, who do they go against next? Let me look that up.
They're playing the Titans the week after. Then they're playing the Cardinals. They're playing the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Bills. I could see them, the Titans and the Cardinals, them winning.
They definitely should win those games. Because they're not relying on the run to beat people because they haven't beat anybody yet. But maybe they need to start relying on Joe Mixon a little bit more and get him into the game so they get some pass action in there. Not exactly sure, but the Rams could come in there and beat the Bengals. It's very possible.
Well, at any rate, those are our picks. Thank you all for watching. If you have any opinions, let us know in the chat. Tell us how wrong we are. Tell us how right we are.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the Falcons fans start flocking back to tell me how wrong I was in the very beginning. That's what I've been waiting for, but I appreciate you guys. Like Dan said, make sure to drop those picks in the comment section down there. And let us know how you guys are doing. We appreciate all your guys' love and support. Make sure to drop like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.